All right, people. Let's make this short. It really is short for me because it's not a complicated process for me. One of the subscribers, obviously a Snyder IC driver, thinking about moving over to F2F, asked my process and the way I crunch numbers when I book a load. If I'm in the areas I normally run, which is the south, going up to the Midwest, back to the south, I don't do northeast. The farthest east I've been in the last couple years is the Waverly, New York load that we did. I got no desire to go that way. I just don't. So I don't do it. We can get into all the reasons why, but we'll just stop it at that. But as far as like the areas I run, mainly 250 a mile is my minimum number. That's the number I want. So when I'm looking at a load, and a lot of them on the load board, DAT and whatever, now XBO and Coyote, they generally list a number. Sometimes they don't, but their negotiation on their apps is horrible because I think it's mostly computer generated. But we can get into that too some other time. But when I'm looking at a load on DAT, there's not a sponsor, by the way. A lot of times they don't list a rate. So what I'm looking at, I take the 250 number, depending on where I'm going. Again, that's my minimum number is 250 times the miles. That's the number I'm looking for. So when I call the broker, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna lowball you right out the gate, at least by $200, $300, $400. And I think a lot of them do that because they know the negotiation game's coming. It's just like selling a car. You want 15, so you put it up for 2 because somebody's going to come in and want to give you that lower offer. So you're building that into what you're doing right out of the gate. Same thing with rates. I think they post them or give you the rate already lowballed because they figure if they say that you call on a load and they want 1,500 and your number based on say the 250 a mile is $2,000. That's a $500 window. So that can be a little harder window to close, and they know that. But the difference is I want 250 a mile to the truck or better. Again, depending on where I'm going in the areas I run. So if we're playing that game, if they come up, again with a $2,000 scenario, and they want to give 15, and I say, well, no, I need 2. Can you go 2? And a lot of times they'll come back and go, well, I really don't have that in it. I can do 1,650. Well, I appreciate your time. Maybe we can do something in the future. I said, but I just can't run it for that. This is what I need. And then sometimes they'll jump back up. They'll come right at the number that you gave them, or they'll come real close. So I mean, for me, it just, when I'm looking at loads, I'm looking at the areas I like to run. Again, the South, the Midwest. Occasionally shoot out to Wyoming or out west when the weather's right. Like Arizona, where we're just coming out of. Went there not because the freight was great and the rates were through the roof. Went there because the weather was nice and we haven't been in a while. So we're going back to the area we normally run, which is an ice box at the moment. And a snowstorm is rolling across. I mean, that's just the way I do it. 250 is my minimum number. That's the number I've decided will be my minimum number. You may decide, you want a better minimum number and you want to try to get more, and that's fine. They're not going to get mad for you asking for more. There's no reason for it because they know there's other drivers going to call on that load. Just like if you don't get that particular load, there's other loads available. That's all it comes down to. There's a lot of loads popping up all the time. The one thing that I don't know how you per se run over on the IC boards, but I know I was a little quicker to pick loads. I wasn't as patient over there, again, because that board was the IC board, and a lot of IC drivers, that was all we had to pick from. So if you've seen something halfway decent pop up, you didn't always want to just, well, I'll wait for the next one, because the next one might not come. On the DAT load board and other load boards, XPO and them, that's not really the case. You can be patient. More loads are going to pop up, a lot more. So patience is one thing you really have to learn to do, and I've learned to do that. I'll sit a couple days if I have to get a rate, because I'm looking at, even though my costs are low, I'm looking for maximum revenue on my truck. I want to get as much as I can. I'm not going to haul $1 a mile freight. That's not going to happen. I'll sit as many days as I have to keep that from happening. But like this load, it's over $2 a mile gross. It's $2.26 a mile. It's $1.81 to the truck per mile is what we're making on it. And it gets me back into the area I normally run, or close to. So, I can live with that. I've run a hell of a lot of freight over at Schneider for a lot less than $1.81 a mile. I know that. So I can go with that. I don't know if that really answers your question. I hope it does to a certain extent. But, crunching the numbers for me, I know what my costs are. Right now with the trailer being added to my monthly bills, my costs per mile are 81 cents to about 81 cents a mile. So I'm good. I can haul cheaper if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm always going to try to get as close to that number as I can. Again, the market's going to determine that. Like coming out of Florida would be a different scenario. Coming out of Phoenix, different scenario. But coming out of Phoenix, I'm making $1.81 a mile of the truck. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So just grab a minimum number. Know what your minimum number is. You've been out here running on the Schneider IC board. When you get on the load board, you're going to notice there is a difference. In general, not a great big crazy difference, but there's a difference when you're picking the loads, because you're going to have to get used to the spot market, how different areas and what the normal rate lines are, depending on what lane you're running. I'm getting there. I'm not an expert at this point. I'm getting better, but for the areas, my area, regular operating area, is not as big as some. Again, no Northeast for me, so that's not a big deal. But I'm gonna end this video. I don't know if that answered your question. It probably didn't as good as you might have wanted. But when you're picking on the spot market, you're gonna have to get used to that. Dealing with brokers, not a big deal. Being able to negotiate, not a big deal. You call them, you tell them what you want. They're going to tell you what they're going to give you. So it's cut and dry. If they don't give you what you want, be patient. What I can tell you is be patient and try to get the number you need. So from that, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to stop here on this video, upload it, and if you got any other questions on it, specific questions, just hit me up in the comments. I can either answer it there, or somebody else might pop in and give you some info. There's people been running a lot longer on F2F, or even the load boards in general, that might be watching. They could probably answer some of these questions better than I can. Again, I'm 2.5 months into negotiating my own stuff, so I think I've done pretty well. I mean, January I was well above $2 a mile to the truck, average all miles. So I got to be doing something a little right, I think, to do that. But again, let me know. Let me know if there's something more specific that you want me to go right at, and I'll do that. But as always, I appreciate everybody taking the time. Be safe. We'll talk to you.